Hey, Chimo Sabis, get ready for another 30 with Tony Snippet. He's the man of the hour, the man with the power, too sweet to be sour. So here's Tony.
Because, of course, in this dystopian social media era, everything is a conspiracy. Nothing is real. Bad things don't happen. Every real story is just fed slop. The real story is some convoluted, nefarious plot by the Jews.
What? That's so crazy.
Whatever the opposite of Occam's razor is, that's TikTok. We have lost our damn minds. I really think that COVID fried people's brains and that they've simply never recovered. We were gaslit to hell, of course. Dr. Tony Fauci, funded the development of the virus. He lied about the lab leak.
So it came from a wet market in the same place where there's this huge lab that does all the kind of development of exactly what this thing is. That's some coincidence.
They lied about the threat to kids. They locked everyone down.
I wear a mask to school. I wear a mask to school.
It was like some horrendous globalized Stanford prison experiment. Our institutions completely eviscerated their own reputation and dignity. Gavin Newsom locked us down and then had a fancy dinner with friends at the French Laundry. The science told us that if you went paddleboarding alone in the middle of the ocean, you needed to be arrested for killing grandma.
Well, good morning, Kemasabis. It's Tony D'Angelo. It's the morning of August 24th, 2026, Ada Domini, the year of our Lord. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. So happy to have you here for this snippet edition of 10 with Tony. And I had to show you that video. It's a Spencer Pratt video. I highly recommend you start watching the Spencer Pratt videos because he's hitting this mess exactly where it needs to be hit. And the fact of the matter is, do you realize something, kids? For 6 years, we've been living in a psych job. We've been listening to these morons and these political panderers come out and parrot things and tell us things and not allowing us to check out the information for ourselves, because when we check out the information for ourselves, we find out it is oftentimes one big, huge lie. And as we like to say on the big show, the 30 with Tony, the legitimate media is always claiming credibility, and the independent people do not know what they are talking about. Well, that's the classic example. Take that video and throw that in their face, because it's a classic psych job. It's a classic brainwashing. And what really galls me is that here we are, it's 2026. We're 6 years after what I like to call the, shall I say, the planned and failed communist takeover. And you see people campaigning and they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to talk about what was done to us physically, mentally, the damage to children, the damage to finances, the loss of businesses. They want to have you go along and think about like nothing has ever happened. Look in my state, Connecticut. I was getting into a discussion last week with somebody where he had mentioned the no-bid contract of Anne Lamont on Semaphore, a somewhat questioned COVID test in a no-bid contract, and she happens to be married to our governor, Ned Lamont, and he was running out saying, well, I'm saving humanity, don't you know that? And I say to them, and I say to you, there is so much more than that. It is much more intricate. It is much more involved. It is much more racketeering is about the only thing I can say. And do you ever hear anything from these political weasels who are campaigning that are going to save us from all mankind's sins? And that went on. We cannot change what has happened before. But if we don't learn from what was done, if we're not out there challenging people and asking them, as you know, our great caller in the Lee Elsey show, Dan from East Hampton, always says, any candidate comes on, he says, are you going to lock us down? You ought to hear the Ralph Cramden stuff with that. These are the things that we really need to be paying attention to, because if we're in an environment where they want to stifle voices, if we're in an environment where we can't ask questions, we're in an environment where political people give statements and run and they're covered by these state-run media lackeys who don't ask these questions. You need to be confronting these people. Never, ever, ever, ever put your hands on them, but you need to be confronting them and asking them and filming them, and if necessary, humiliating them for all to see. It is simple as that, and it is just as difficult. It's Tony D'Angelo, 10 with Tony, August 24th, 2026. This week, we got a week coming up. I will be subbing on the Lee Elsey show tomorrow. That would be Tuesday, August 25th. And then we've got 30 with Tony. Thursdays, 3, Twitter, and the great national Talk Red media. You guys better be watching Talk Red. Talk Red is doing some incredible things. Anyway, you guys have a great day, Keemosabis. And remember, keep this in mind wherever you go. Do not forget the past, but learn from it so we can make a better world in the future. That's all it comes down to. We get 4 at-bats a day. Let's get on base and let's score some runs. God bless you. I love you.